Welcome everyone, I'm Darren Walker and welcome to AriesFitnessLLC.com. Alright, today we're going to talk about shoulders. Now shoulders, I have a hard time teaching people about shoulders because they're so complex and I feel like people damage them a lot more than what they should. Having jobs like commercial fishing and construction, masonry, all kinds of hard working jobs, even doing desk jobs, alright? Your posture starts to get out of alignment, you start getting more of that kyphosis kind of skeleton structure, or if you have any kind of spinal disorders, basically it starts to rotate your shoulders. Your shoulders, if your chest is too tight, your shoulders start getting rounded and forward like this. So we need to start strengthening our shoulders a lot more. And there's certain exercises you could do for strengthening, especially your rotator cuff. And the rotator cuff is probably the one you have to look out for the most in your shoulder. So I'm going to show you. This is straight out of my book of personal training. This is what the rotator cuff muscles look like. Alright? And if you want to see, this is what, I'm going to do things out of the book to show people what I've learned. Alright, this is all the shoulder muscles. As you can see, there's actually a lot more complexity in our shoulders than what people think. I mean, you do have the front, the mid, and the rear delt, but also coming off of your scapula you have, which is your shoulder blade, you have the rotator cuff that comes in and connects to your joint, your ball and socket. Alright, now speaking of that, this is where people start to damage. For instance, doing this. Just doing this is cracking my shoulder right now, and it hurts. It gives me pain. Alright, you can do it in a better way by going on more of an angle, because then you go into an alignment with your shoulder joint. When you're going like this is used for physical therapists to find shoulder impingements. So I don't know why bodybuilders back in the day thought it was okay to teach people to do this and just grind on your shoulder joint. I mean, some people can get away with it, and they're the A type. There's A, B, and C type, and depending on your structure, as I'll show you. Alright, so in your structure right here, you can see where the ball goes into the socket, and if you can see that. So when your ball and socket are there's different people that have where it sticks different ways. So you have C type, which is me. As you can see, mine lumps out right here and sticks and kind of covers over top. That's a C. So it looks like this on your shoulder structure. Then you have the B type, which is a little more open, and then you have the A type, which is really open. These people can do it, the A type, but it's not necessary, and it's not worth taking the risk. And most trainers that professionally speaking will tell you that it's not necessary to do it. There's other exercises that work just as good, if not better, without damaging your shoulder joints. So if you are going to do it in an angle, because then your shoulder goes in alignment and you're not going against that joint. Alright, so when your ball and socket and you start grinding on your shoulder, why is that good? Why do you think that's good? Alright, so we need to start thinking about our mind and body control when we're working out, because this is the most positive way at looking about working out. You have to think about the muscle you're working. I'm doing a lateral raise, alright? You start pouring the milk, guess what? As soon as I start doing that and tilting, you're rotating your whole shoulder, your arm, so it's going to look like this inside the socket, and you're pulling on those rotator cuff muscles. Then you're going on like this and grinding on it. Okay, that's not good. It's not good to sit there and pour the milk. I mean, that's what people taught me, and I ended up pulling my rotator cuff muscle my first year of lifting, more than 10 years ago. So a lot of us trainers have gone through all the trial and error, so we could teach you not to go through that and have a healthier body. Alright, so listen from us. We're trying to help. All right. So, all right, let's do some front raises. Front raises you can do this way. It'll help the front delt. These are some exercises I'm going to teach real quick. So, I got my Bowflex dumbbell right here. So, you can go up, and as you can see, it contracts, and then on the eccentric, it relaxes and stretches out. So as soon as I get right here, you can tell that there's nothing, there's no resistance or anything. If you're on a cable and you grab from behind, then there's always resistance pulling down. So when it's pulling down, then you're getting all that resistance to work the muscle constantly. And with shoulders, you need to work it constantly because we're always using them and working on lifting things, and you're using your shoulder a lot more than what you think. And it's your knees and shoulders, I think, get the most abuse and most use. So when you're doing front raises with a dumbbell, you can go up, contract, go down. You don't have to go all the way down to your side to relax it. I mean, you can if you want to get the full stretch, but I try to keep attention on my muscles as much as possible when I'm doing shoulders, because I feel like they grow more. For me, I mean, you get to test things yourself. You can go till it's relaxed and then go all the way back up and just keep doing the reps like that, and you can see the front. You can either go till it's horizontal, or you can do the lateral way like hammer. But when you do the hammer, try to go across your chest, and you're going to feel it a lot more. Alright, so another thing is lateral raises. Make sure you don't do tilting the milk or whatever you want to call it. It's bad. So, and you'll need your arm completely straight unless you're doing like really light weight. Try to bend your arm a little bit, because you want to keep. You're just trying to work the shoulder. You're not trying to work like your tendons and stuff in your joint of your elbow. You'll start to feel pressure in your elbow. Most people will, and they'll be like, "Oh, it hurts right here." All right, so bend your arm a little bit. And I usually hold on to something and I lean in a diagonal. So you get your shoulder alignment, you feel the contraction, right? And then you go down. But I don't go all the way down because there's no use, there's nothing, resistance, as you can tell, there's nothing. I mean, so go like a distance to where you feel like it just relaxed, and then you go right back up. And you don't need to go all the way up here, because then you're going to be working your trapezius. All right, we're not trying to work your trapezius, we're trying to work your mid delt. So go till you feel the contraction, and it's usually about your shoulder like horizontally. It should be just completely lateral, and you should see it straight. If you start going up like this, then all I feel is my trapezius. And once you get more defined and your muscles build up, you'll start to feel the muscles actually more working, and you can tell which muscles are working. Especially when you learn how to get the mind-body control, you'll start to see what I'm talking about more and more. Alright, so lateral raises, you could do it with cable, come across like this with a cable. I always try to open up. I open up like this. It feels better on my joint, and you're taking the pressure off your rotator cuff when you're out like this. And a good rotator cuff exercise, if you want to start working that from back here, is either lay down your side, keep your elbow and your arm 90 degrees, and just externally rotate out while you're laying down. You can do like 20 reps, 3 sets on each arm, and you can also do it with a cable or dumbbell from standing. And you start right here, and you go out as much as you can. Put a towel right here if you want, and if the towel falls, it means you pulled your arm out, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep it close to your side. Stand up straight, and you'll start to feel it. You'll feel it right away. It's pretty hard. You got to do it with lightweight. I mean, I have this set at 7.5 pounds, so I usually will do like 20 pounds with the cable, because you don't want to overload your rotator cuffs, because they're not that strong of muscles. You need to build them up till they become stronger and stronger. Alright, so Another thing I want to talk about is doing flies. All right, when you do chest flies, they open up and they put a lot of pressure on your rotator cuff as you're coming down, right? So when you're coming down, you can do chest flies. All right. I mean, you don't necessarily need to open up like this. I just do chest flies like that. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be completely open, because then it starts to put pressure anyway on your elbows, and you'll feel a lot more in your rotator cuff. Unless you can handle the weight and you feel the control, as long as you can control weight and the movement, then you're good. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is rear delt. The rear delt is important because a lot of people do just flies, rear delt flies. If you're not doing this correctly and you're doing a rear delt fly and you're not focusing on working that muscle, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll contract. And am I contracting my delts or am I contracting my back? It's back usually. So if you're contracting your back, try a different exercise. I usually like rear delt pulls. So I'll take a cable with a single rope and you extend. Make sure your back's straight, you bend over a little bit, put your hand on your knee. You don't want to go completely on your side, because then you'll start to use your latissimus dorsi muscles, so your lats, other words. So you use the rope on a cable, and you come back, and you want to pull up. You'll feel it. You got to think about how you're feeling it. You adjust your arm until you feel it right. Because you'll feel it. Like if you're going too much of a 90 degree, then you might start feeling your lat and you're not focusing, or your angle's out. So I have to be usually at like a 45-degree angle with my elbow compared to my waist. So when I do that, you can see my rear delt is contracting. And that's what you want. As soon as you see there's a better position, they work really good. Definitely try them. And there's also, you could do on a bench, you could do rear flies like that. There's a lot of exercises out there. I'm sure you've seen a lot of other videos of it. But I just want to make sure people do things safely and start thinking about the way they're working their muscle instead of doing upright rows and flies. I mean, you could do all these workouts if you do them correctly and you think about the way you're doing it. Upright rows I really don't suggest. You have a type A type of socket where it's open, it's a lot better. But thank you everyone. Train like a guy of war. Please hit like and subscribe if you like this video and you want more. Also, my buddy he has his own shirt brand. Go to modefitusa.com and get yours today. He makes them really nice, and he lives in LA. So help my friends out. I'll help you out. All right, thank you guys.